You have no control of what your life looks like. You are lost, and due to ADHD, you can't fix it. I'm Coach Bruce, and I'm a life coach for I'm a life coach for ADHD parents. That's not brand new information to me, but for some reason I said it like I did. Let's say it again. I am Coach Bruce, and I am a life coach for ADHD parents. Um, I want to check in with my other ADHD parents. This is not how I feel anymore, but before I started to find balance and a foundation to develop my life upon, I definitely felt like I had no control of what my life looked like. I was just lost and life was happening to me. I had no control about what my life would look like in past, present, or future. Everything was just happening. And I don't feel like this is unique to ADHD people, but for me, it was definitely an ADHD issue, and I had no idea. Um, if you were an ADHD teenager, or you don't have kids, or you are, I don't know, somebody else, this is not for you. I'm talking to ADHD parents right now. This is something that I feel like is going to be most prevalent in people who have gotten lost in the identities of parenthood and marriage. We all get involved in these complicated relationships, and we love them, and we enjoy growing these new identities for a time. But at some point, whenever you don't have any sort of foundation, you become something, and it's not a choice. You didn't choose to become a mother or father. You had a kid, and then you became a mother or father. The decision was a life consequence, not a plan. Um, which, don't get me wrong, I became a father because it happened, and I wouldn't take it back for anything in the entire world. I'm so glad it happened. But I started to become bitter towards being a father because I didn't choose it. Like, let me go back and say that the most important thing in my life, my children, in a close tie with my wife, I was bitter at having because it wasn't of my choosing. Now, just because I didn't choose that it happened didn't mean I couldn't choose the lifestyle. Didn't mean I couldn't choose to be a father and to do better and to own it as an identity. But because I had no plan for my life, I didn't choose anything. I had no idea that it was even an option for me. I just let life happen, and I took whatever I was given, and I just ran from whenever I felt low to try to find something distracting or escape from that low feeling. And whenever something made me feel good, I ran towards that. That's not a plan. Um, I also felt like I was incapable of anything else. I felt like I couldn't grow more or go farther or rise higher because I have this thing in my head that says you're never going to do that. You're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be more. You're going to fuck this up like you fucked everything else up. That's not true. I messed up a lot of stuff. I was a screw up for a long time. At least that's how I thought about it. But it turns out I wasn't a screw up. I just screwed up. Screwing up is not the same thing as being a screw up. Being a screw up is adopting that identity and making it almost a self-fulfilling prophecy because you can't accept the fact that you did something that was stupid, bad, wrong, hurt somebody, whatever, and you can't forgive yourself and move forward. That is really, it's typically very hard for ADHD people to do because we have that internal feedback loop of negative self-talk telling reminding us every time we start to rise above a little bit that maybe we don't deserve this. Our brain starts to lie to us and create that secondary conversation all the time. I don't know, did anybody else feel like they deserved the chaos? They deserved the mess that their life was because they were ADHD and this is just what it's supposed to be. It's not. You don't deserve anything just for being born a way, just for having a disability. You don't deserve anything good or bad. You have to earn in this life. And you were given a setback or you were given a superpower. It is dependent upon you to decide what it is. and put the work and effort into it to turn it into something special. I, a lot of ADHD people will say that's not possible. I've got ADHD. I can't work. I can't put the effort in. I can't spend the time. I think that's bullshit. I'm ADHD. I'm on the spectrum. I've been diagnosed with ADHD and I'm self-diagnosed with being on the spectrum. So at least one of those is a fact no matter who you are. And I've been able to overcome those things. I'm medicated, but that was something that was a hard thing for me to do. I had to take the steps to get medicated. And then that wasn't the end of it. I was medicated for 10, 12 years and still a screw up because I didn't manage my ADHD. I just took some pills and thought that was, and called it good. That's not taking control of your life. I also considered myself not worthy of the, like, any investment. I wouldn't, I mean, if I had insurance at the time, I'd go to doctors for getting my medication. Outside of that, I wouldn't take care of my body. I wouldn't go to the dentist regularly. I just didn't think that it was worth it to put into myself unless it was food or alcohol or pills or whatever else to escape the reality that I was so disconnected from my life. I was just disengaged with everything. And I thought that was because it was everybody else's fault. I was such a victim of my ADHD and the mentality that it's everybody else's fault that they are not accommodating my ADHD. It took a long time to realize that I was not taking any responsibility for any effort in my life. I will tell you, if you go on living that way, you are on a dangerous road that is going to blow up your home life. If you are lucky enough to have found somebody who accepted you and married you, if you are lucky enough to have been able to create life on this world and have kids, you also have to take the responsibility to start working before it's too late and you lose them. If you don't put any effort into managing your ADHD, I promise you, eventually they are going to get sick of taking care of you all the time. And they should. If you aren't willing to put forth any effort to try to do better, you don't have to expect to be a neurotypical and do everything on time and have a strict schedule that you adhere to and have goals that are neurotypical goals. But as an ADHD parent, you have to do more. You have to do better. You have to be engaged in life and you have to try and be better. It's just a fact because your spouse, your kids, your people who love you, they also don't want to see you in a pit of despair all the time. They're going to try to help, 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 and then eventually they're going to realize that you don't want to help yourself. And at some point, you have to break away from that people, or you get pulled into the pit of despair as well. I'm not going to say everybody's going to do that. There will be people who will go down with you. Is that what you want? Do you want to drag down people with you into your pit of despair? Or would you rather just start to make an effort now before it is too late and you start dragging people down with you? Make an effort, set small goals, start to just chunk away at all of the huge responsibility that it feels like. Because if you chunk away at it today and you chunk away at it a little bit tomorrow, and if you just keep chunking away at it, it'll get smaller and smaller. The pressure will get less and less. Your ADHD symptoms will start to recede to a degree. You are still ADHD, but stress breeds higher ADHD results. That's a fact. That's how disease and disability works. The more stress your body is under, the more stress your body, mind, whatever is under, the more those symptoms flare up. ADHD is no different. If you are just buried under all the pressure of all the things that are happening in your life to you, and you're not taking control of anything, of course you've got terrible ADHD symptoms. You're stressed beyond belief. But at some point, you have to take the first step to try to relieve some of the pressure from yourself. You have to. If you don't do that, then you're going to be doing it with less and less people who are willing to support you, who are willing to be part of that support system to help you once they see that you're helping yourself. It's important to have that. It's important to have support. It's important to have people who you care about in your life. One of my clients right now, we're actively trying to work her daughter back into her life because she got to the point where she was medicating with alcohol. She was doing all the things that she didn't purposely do, but she was pushing her daughter farther and farther away to the point where they no longer spoke. Any client of mine, that's not going to, like, we're not going to stand for that, because at some point you have to take some responsibility for something. If you created life on this world, it is your responsibility to foster a relationship with that at any means necessary. If you messed it up, it doesn't mean that you can't start reaching out and trying again to rebuild that relationship, making steady and constant efforts to show that you are willing to grow and get better. You can't just throw in the towel with that. Not if you're my client. I'm not going to be hard on you all the time and tell you that you need to work out 6 times a week and tell you if you're not losing weight you're a failure. I'm not going to do any of that. But if you are not willing to try to rebuild the relationship with the person that you created on this earth, and that they had no choice but to be here, you did that, you're not going to be my client anymore. That's hands down, period, because you are not willing to admit failure, admit that you are fallible, that you have flaws, and grow. You have to be able to do that for me to be able to help you. So I encourage everybody who is listening to this right now to look around your life, do some introspection and say, am I putting out? Am I making an effort? Am I trying at all to make my life easier for me, but also for the people around me? Am I doing anything? Am I holding myself accountable? And then I encourage you to go to the assessment that I've got dropped in it's the ADHD burnout or aimless life quiz, and the link is in the description. I encourage you to take it and see if this is you, because I didn't realize. I had no idea. I was just so content, and it wasn't actual contentment. It was masking. It was me just pretending that everything was okay, and I bought the lie. I was so good at telling the lie that I bought it, and then I find myself, getting drunk at work, sneaking alcohol in the home, taking prescription pills to self-medicate, doing all the things that says you're obviously not happy with your life, but it was all my fault. I couldn't blame anybody else. It was me who was not taking any control of my life. I encourage you to take that assessment and find out now before you do something stupid like I did and almost lose everything. That's it for today. Wrapping it up. I still do encourage you to be yourself and love yourself, because self acceptance is the first step to being able to grow. So I'm coming off kind of hard. It's because I love you. All right, my ADHD people, I will see you tomorrow.